Hey, let me ask you one thing. When was the last time you actually felt good? Like really, truly, deeply good? Not just okay, not just surviving, but actually good. If you had to think about it for more than 2 seconds, then this episode is exactly for you. Stay with us.
Welcome to Mr. English Podcast, the place where real conversations happen in simple, easy English. If you are learning English and you want to understand real, natural, everyday talk, you are in the right place, my friend.
I am Emma.
And I am James.
And today, oh my goodness, today we are talking about something that every single person on this planet thinks about at some point: healthy habits. Why they matter, why they are so hard, and how they can honestly change your whole life.
Yes, and before we go anywhere, we just want to say something from the heart. Thank you. Really, thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend some of your time learning English with us at Mr. English Podcast.
It means so much. Every single listen, every comment, every time you come back, it makes this little podcast feel alive and warm and real. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
And hey, if you're new here, welcome to the family. We make podcast episodes just like this one, real conversations in simple English, so you can learn naturally just by listening. No boring textbooks, no stiff grammar lessons, just real talk.
So please subscribe to Mr. English Podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoy today's show, share it with one friend who is also learning English. That one share honestly helps more than you know.
All right, now, healthy habits. Let us get into it.
Yes, but James, before we officially start, can I just say something embarrassing?
Oh, this is going to be good, please.
Okay, so last Monday morning, I woke up and I felt very motivated, very energized, very ready to change my life.
Classic Monday energy.
Right? So I made this big, beautiful plan. I said, okay, Emma, this week you are going to drink more water, you are going to go to bed by 10, you are going to eat a real breakfast every morning. No more grabbing a cookie and calling it breakfast.
The cookie breakfast, a true American classic.
It is. And I also said I would stop looking at my phone before bed because I read somewhere that the blue light from your phone screen is very bad for your sleep.
Yeah, that's actually true.
So I made this whole plan, wrote it down, drew real boxes to check. It looked amazing on paper. Very organized, very responsible.
I feel a butt coming.
A huge but is coming. By Wednesday, I had checked 0 boxes. 0, James. I was staying up until midnight on my phone, watching videos of people decorating their apartments in New York City. I do not even live in New York. I'm not decorating anything. I was just watching.
Oh no, Emma, why?
I genuinely do not know. My brain just decided that midnight was the perfect time to explore New York apartment tours. And then Thursday morning, I woke up tired, skipped breakfast again, had 2 cups of coffee before 9, and told myself, okay, I'll start fresh on Monday.
Ah, the Monday reset, the oldest habit of all.
The oldest. And honestly, I think most people do this. Most people have tried to build healthy habits at some point, and most people have also quietly failed and then promised themselves they would try again next week.
Yeah, I've been there too, 100%. And that's actually what I want to talk about today, because I think the reason so many people struggle with healthy habits is not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't care. It's because they're thinking about habits the wrong way.
Oh, say more. Say more.
Okay, so I grew up in a pretty busy home. My mom worked 2 jobs for a long time when I was a kid. And because she was always busy, always tired, meals in our house were whatever was fast, whatever was easy. Packaged stuff, drive-through on busy nights, soda with dinner because water felt boring.
That sounds really familiar, honestly.
And nobody in my house was a bad person. Nobody was trying to be unhealthy. Life was just full and fast and hard, and easy choices felt like the only choices. And I carried a lot of those habits into my adult life without even thinking about it, because habits feel normal when you've been doing them your whole life.
That's such an important point because people think habits are choices you make on purpose, but so many of your daily habits, you didn't actually choose them. You just absorbed them from your family, from your environment, from how your days were structured growing up.
Exactly. And that was a big realization for me because I used to blame myself a lot. I would say, why can't I just eat better? Why do I keep staying up too late? Why is it so hard to exercise? And I thought the problem was me, that I was weak or lazy or not trying hard enough.
And was that the problem?
No, the problem was that I was trying to change habits without understanding where those habits came from in the first place. I was trying to pull out weeds without looking at the roots.
Oh, I love that image. The roots of a habit.
Right, and once I started understanding that, everything started to make more sense. Not easy, but clearer.
Okay, so let's talk about this more because I think a lot of our listeners can relate to this exact feeling. You know something is good for you, you want to do it, but something keeps getting in the way, and you can't always explain what that something is.
Yes, and I think the first thing that really helped me was understanding what a habit actually is. Because most people think a habit is just something you do regularly, like I have a habit of brushing my teeth, or I have a habit of checking my phone in the morning.
Right, that's how most people think of it.
But a habit is actually a loop. It has three parts. There's a trigger, something that starts the habit, then there's the behavior itself, what you actually do, and then there's the reward, the feeling you get after.
Okay, can you give a simple example?
Sure. So let's say you have a habit of eating chips while watching TV at night. The trigger is sitting on the couch and turning on the TV. The behavior is reaching for the chips, and the reward is that feeling of comfort and relaxation. Your brain connects the couch and the TV with that cozy snacking feeling.
Oh, wow. And so your brain is not trying to make you unhealthy. It is actually trying to give you what it thinks you want, which is that relaxed, comfortable feeling.
Exactly. Your brain is doing its job. The habit is just the tool it uses to get there. And that is why simply telling yourself to stop a habit often does not work, because you are removing the behavior without replacing the reward, and your brain still needs that reward.
That is so interesting. I never thought about it that way.
And it also explains why stress makes unhealthy habits so much harder to break. Because when you're stressed, your brain wants comfort even more, so it reaches for the fastest, easiest comfort it knows, which is usually the old habit.
Which is why when I am stressed, I eat an entire bag of popcorn and do not even notice until it's gone.
Yes, that's your brain saying, we are overwhelmed, and popcorn is a known solution.
My brain is very dramatic.
All brains are a little dramatic, but once you understand the loop, you can start working with it instead of against it. You can keep the trigger and the reward, but change the behavior in the middle. So instead of reaching for chips when you sit on the couch at night, you reach for something lighter. You keep the cozy TV ritual, you just shift what's in your hand.
That feels so much more manageable than saying, I will never eat snacks again, starting tomorrow.
So much more manageable. And that word is important, manageable. It means you can actually handle it. It fits your real life.
And speaking of real life, can we talk about sleep? Because I feel like sleep is the habit that everybody knows they should fix and almost nobody actually fixes.
Oh, sleep, my oldest enemy and my deepest love.
Right? Like, I genuinely love sleep. I love being in bed, I love the feeling of waking up rested, and yet somehow I still stay up too late almost every night.
Why do you think that is? Like when you really think about it.
Honestly, I think the nighttime is the first time in the whole day that feels like mine. Like the whole day I am responding to things, emails, texts, responsibilities, plans. But late at night, it's quiet. Nobody needs anything from me. And I think my brain just wants to hold on to that quiet time for as long as possible, even if it means sleeping less.
That's really honest. And I think a lot of people feel that exact thing. The night feels like freedom, even though technically it's stealing from tomorrow's rest.
Stealing from tomorrow's rest. That's a good way to say it.
And I was the same way for years. I used to stay up really late, not always doing anything exciting, sometimes just sitting with my phone or watching something half interesting on TV. And I always told myself I was relaxing. But the next morning, I would wake up feeling heavy and slow, and the day would feel harder than it needed to be.
And the problem with bad sleep is that it affects everything else. When you're tired, you're less patient, you make worse food choices, you feel more anxious, you have less energy to move your body. Everything connects.
Everything connects. That is actually one of the most important things about healthy habits. They're not separate things in separate little boxes. They're all linked together. Sleep affects your eating affects your energy affects how much you move affects your mood affects your sleep. It's one big circle.
Which means if you improve just one thing, it can start to pull the rest along with it.
Yes, and that's why sleep is actually one of the most powerful places to start. Because when you sleep better, everything else gets a little easier. You make better choices, you feel more patient with yourself, you have more energy to try.
Okay, so how did you actually fix your sleep? Because I need real answers here, James, not the stuff that sounds nice in a magazine.
Okay, real answers. So the first thing I did was I stopped trying to use willpower alone. Because I learned pretty quickly that at 10:30 at night, my willpower is basically gone. It left at 8.
Accurate. Very accurate.
So instead of relying on willpower, I changed my environment. I moved my phone charger out of my bedroom. I know that sounds simple, but it was actually huge. Because if my phone is in another room, I can't scroll in bed. The temptation is just not there.
Oh, I've heard people suggest this, and I always thought that can't really make that big of a difference. But can it?
It made a significant difference for me. Within a week, I was falling asleep faster. Because the last thing I was doing before bed was not staring at a bright screen. I was just lying in a dark room, and my brain had nothing to do but wind down.
That makes so much sense. Because I think we forget that sleep doesn't just happen when you close your eyes. Your body needs time to prepare for sleep, like it needs to calm down and cool down and slow down. And if you're giving it exciting content until the very last second, it can't do that.
Exactly. So the second thing I did was I made a really simple bedtime routine. And I want to be clear, simple means simple. It wasn't some fancy wellness routine with 17 steps. I just made a cup of herbal tea, I turned the lights in my apartment down a little bit, and I read a few pages of a book. That's it.
And that worked?
It worked because my brain started to learn tea and soft light and a book means sleep is coming. It became a signal, a cue that helped my body shift into rest mode.
Okay, I want to try that. Genuinely. I'm going to move my phone out of my room tonight.
Tell us how it goes in the comments, Emma.
I will report back. And speaking of comments, we want to hear from you too, listeners. What is one sleep habit that you struggle with? Or do you have a trick that actually helps you sleep better? Tell us in the comments. We love reading your experiences.
We really do. All right, let's talk about something that I think makes a lot of Americans feel guilty, and that's exercise.
Oh, yes. The word that sends people either running to the gym or running in the other direction.
Right. And I think the problem is how we're taught to think about exercise. Because for a long time, I believed that exercise only counted if it was serious, like going to a real gym with equipment and lifting heavy things or running for a long time. Otherwise, it didn't count.
And that is such a common belief. Like, if I did not do an intense, sweaty workout, then I did not exercise.
And that belief actually stopped me from doing anything on the days when I did not have time or energy for a big workout. I would think, well, I cannot do a real workout today, so I just won't do anything.
Which is all or nothing thinking. Either I do it perfectly or I do not do it at all.
Yes, and all or nothing thinking is one of the biggest enemies of healthy habits, because life is never perfect. There will always be days when you are tired, when you are busy, when things go sideways, and if your habit only works on perfect days, it's not a real habit, it's a wish.
That is such a good way to say it. A habit that only works on perfect days is a wish.
So I completely changed how I thought about movement. I stopped asking, did I exercise today? And I started asking, did I move my body today? And those are two very different questions with very different answers.
Say more about that.
So a 10-minute walk after dinner counts as moving your body. Stretching in the morning while the coffee brews counts. Choosing the stairs instead of the elevator counts. Parking a little farther away and walking counts. Dancing in your kitchen for 3 minutes counts.
I dance in my kitchen. I was not going to admit that, but yes.
Kitchen dancing is absolutely valid movement. And the point is, when you lower the bar for what counts, suddenly you're moving every single day, and all of those small movements add up in your body.
And they add up in your mind, too, because you feel like someone who moves regularly, and that matters.
That's actually the key thing, your identity. When you start to see yourself as someone who takes care of their body, even in small ways, you make different choices naturally because you're acting like that person, you're being that person.
I had a moment like this a few months ago. I started taking a walk every morning, just 15 minutes, just around the block, nothing dramatic. And at first, I did it because I read it was good for you. Very logical, very responsible.
Bet being responsible, love it.
Don't make it weird. But after a few weeks, I noticed I actually looked forward to it. It wasn't something I was forcing myself to do. It was something I wanted because it became the one part of my morning that was quiet and mine before the day got loud.
And that's when a habit becomes sustainable, when it stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like something you actually want, because then you don't need discipline to do it, you just do it because it's yours.
And sustainable is such an important word because a habit you hate doing every single day will not last, no matter how good it is for you.
Nope. Your brain will eventually say, I don't care how healthy this is, I refuse.
My brain has said that about so many green vegetables.
Let's talk about food, because this is where things get really complicated for a lot of people.
Complicated and emotional.
Very emotional. And I want to be careful here because food and health are topics that can feel very personal and sometimes sensitive. And I never want to talk about food in a way that makes people feel judged or bad about themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Because food is not just fuel. It's culture, it's comfort, it's family, it's memories, it's celebration.
Exactly. And I grew up in a house where food was love. My grandmother would show she cared about you by feeding you. A big meal meant she was happy you were there. And so food has this deep emotional connection for me that is not just about nutrition.
And I think that's true for so many people, especially in America, where food culture is so big and so varied and so tied to community and celebration.
And so when people talk about healthy eating like it's just a logical decision, like just eat more vegetables and less sugar, they're missing how complicated it actually is for most real people.
Because if I'm stressed, I don't reach for a salad. I reach for something warm and familiar and comforting, something that feels like a hug from the inside.
Oh, yes, comfort food exists because comfort is a real human need, and food can genuinely provide that. The problem isn't that comfort food exists. The problem is when it's the only tool we have for managing difficult feelings.
And a lot of people never learn other tools because nobody teaches you how to handle stress or loneliness or anxiety, but food is always there. It's easy to access, it works fast, and it doesn't require any effort.
So the habit isn't really about the food, it's about the emotion underneath. And this is where I think the real conversation about healthy habits needs to go. Because you can know everything about nutrition, and if you haven't dealt with the emotional side, changing your eating is still going to feel like a constant fight.
So, what do you do about the emotional side? Because that sounds really big and hard.
It is big, but it doesn't have to be tackled all at once. For me, the starting point was simply noticing. Just noticing when I was eating because I was actually hungry, or when I was eating because I was bored or stressed or avoiding something, or just because the food was there.
Just noticing, not judging?
Not judging, just observing, like a curious scientist. Oh, interesting, I just ate those crackers and I wasn't even hungry. I was procrastinating on that email I didn't want to write.
Oh, that's me. 100% me. I'll suddenly be very interested in snacks whenever I have something I don't want to do.
And once you notice the pattern, you can start asking a different question. What do I actually need right now? And sometimes the answer is still food, but sometimes the answer is a 5-minute break, or a walk outside, or to call a friend, or just to sit quietly for a moment without looking at anything.
And having those other options available changes everything, because then you have a choice. You're not just reacting automatically.
Exactly. And slowly, over time, with a lot of patience and a lot of grace towards yourself, you start building a healthier relationship with food, not through restriction, not through guilt, but through understanding.
I want to talk about something that I think is really important and doesn't get talked about enough in these conversations about healthy habits, and that's rest.
Oh yes, real, actual rest.
Because I feel like in American culture especially, there is this idea that being busy is good, that doing more is always better, that rest is something you earn, not something you need.
Yes, and that is a really harmful idea, because rest is not a reward for working hard. Rest is a biological need, like water, like food. Your body and your mind require rest to function properly.
But so many people feel guilty for resting, like they should be doing something productive instead. And if they are not doing something, they feel lazy.
I used to feel this way constantly. I had this voice in my head that kept saying, you could be doing more. Why are you just sitting there? What are you accomplishing right now? And so even when I had downtime, I could not actually enjoy it because my brain was busy feeling bad about not being busy.
Ugh, that sounds exhausting.
It was. And what I did not realize is that the constant pushing, the never stopping, the always going was actually making me less effective, not more, because my brain was never getting a chance to recover. And a brain that never recovers is a brain that starts to slow down and make mistakes and lose creativity.
So rest is not the opposite of productivity. Rest is actually part of what makes you productive.
Yes, and I think of it this way. If you never let your phone charge, eventually it dies. You do not blame the phone for dying, you know it needs charging. Your body and your brain are the same way. Rest is how you recharge.
That is a really good image. And I think people in America especially need to hear that, because we live in a culture that celebrates being exhausted. People say, I'm so busy, like it is a trophy, like being overwhelmed is something to be proud of.
And it leads to burnout, which is when your body and your mind finally just say, no more. We are stopping whether you want to stew or not. And burnout is so much harder to recover from than the tiredness that comes from just not resting enough.
I experienced burnout a couple of years ago, and I want to share that because I think it might help someone who is listening right now and recognizes themselves in this.
Please share it.
So, I was going through a really busy season at work, long hours, lots of pressure, and I was also trying to keep up with everything else in my life, social plans, responsibilities, staying on top of every message and email, and I kept telling myself, just get through this week, just get through this month, and then I will rest.
And let me guess, the resting kept getting pushed further and further away.
Every single time, there was always something else, another reason to wait. And one day, I just hit a wall. I remember sitting at my desk in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon, and I just started crying. Not because anything specific happened. My body just couldn't hold it together anymore. It needed to release something.
That is such a human moment.
And that was when I realized I had been treating my body like a machine that doesn't need anything. Like I could just keep going on coffee and determination and nothing else. And my body finally said, no, we are done.
And what did you do after that?
I took a week off, which felt terrifying because I thought everything would fall apart if I stopped, but nothing fell apart. The world kept going, and I slept, I walked, I sat outside. I read things I wanted to read, not things I had to read. I called people I missed. I cooked simple food slowly. And slowly, I started to feel like a human again.
And what was the lesson in that?
The lesson was that I needed to build rest into my regular life, not as something I do when I break down, but as something I do consistently. Small rests every day, a real day off every week, moments where I'm doing nothing on purpose and not feeling guilty about it.
And that's a healthy habit too, the habit of resting without guilt.
Yes, it's one of the most important ones, and it's hard to build in a culture that constantly tells you to do more.
But it's so worth it, because when you are rested, you show up better in your work, in your relationships, in your own head. You're more patient, more creative, more kind to others and to yourself.
And speaking of being kind to yourself, let's talk about something that I think underlies everything we've discussed today, and that's how you talk to yourself.
Oh, inner dialogue, yes.
Because I notice that when I'm trying to build healthy habits, the voice inside my head is not always very supportive. Sometimes that voice is quite harsh.
What does it say?
Things like, you already messed up, so why bother? Or, you're so bad at this. Everyone else can do it. Why can't you just do the simple thing? Or, the classic, you'll never actually change.
Ugh, I know that voice. That voice is not helpful.
Not helpful at all. And the thing is, that voice is usually trying to motivate you. It thinks being hard on you will push you to do better, but it does the opposite. It just makes you feel bad, and feeling bad is not a great fuel for building new habits.
No, shame is a really poor fuel. You can run on it for a little while, but it burns hot and it burns out fast, and it leaves a lot of damage behind.
So, what's a better fuel?
Encouragement. And I know that sounds soft, but it's actually much more powerful. When you talk to yourself the way you would talk to a good friend who is struggling, you create a much safer space to try and to fail and to try again.
Because a friend who messes up a diet for 1 week doesn't get told by you, "You're a total failure, give up." You say, "It's okay, tomorrow is a new day. Let's try again. What can I help you?"
And you deserve that same voice from yourself about yourself.
This took me such a long time to understand, because I thought being hard on myself was the responsible thing, the disciplined thing, and kindness towards myself felt like making excuses.
And where did being hard on yourself get you?
Crying at my desk on a Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe kindness is actually the more practical option.
It really is. And it makes healthy habits feel completely different. When you're building a habit from a place of self-care, from a place of "I deserve to feel good," it feels very different from building a habit from a place of "I'm not good enough and I need to fix myself."
The first one feels like a gift you're giving yourself. The second one feels like a punishment you are serving.
And gifts are something you want to receive. Punishments are something you want to escape.
So if you want to stick with healthy habits, make them feel more like gifts and less like punishments.
Okay, we are getting close to the end of today's conversation, but before we wrap up, I want to do something a little different, because I know our listeners are working hard on their English as well as their lives. So let us do a quick and easy review of some of the simple words and ideas from today, just to help them stick.
Yes, let us do it.
So, first, we talked about habits. A habit is something you do regularly, often without thinking, like brushing your teeth or reaching for your phone in the morning.
Habits can be healthy or unhealthy, and they're made of 3 parts. A trigger, which starts the habit, a behavior, which is what you do, and a reward, which is the good feeling you get.
We talked about sleep. Sleep is not just rest. It is the time your body and brain repair and recover. Good sleep makes everything in your life easier. Bad sleep makes everything harder.
We talked about movement. You do not have to go to a gym to take care of your body. Moving in small ways, walking, stretching, dancing in your kitchen, all of it counts.
We talked about food. Food is emotional, not just physical. Understanding why you eat is just as important as what you eat. And noticing your patterns without judging yourself is a really good starting point.
We talked about rest. Rest is not lazy. Rest is necessary. Your body needs recovery time. Build rest into your regular life. Don't wait until you break down to take a break.
And we talked about self-talk. The voice inside your head matters. Being kind to yourself is not making excuses. It's actually the most practical and powerful way to build lasting change.
And the most important word of the whole episode might just be this: sustainable. Build habits that you can actually keep. Small, consistent, kind habits that fit your real life, not a perfect imaginary life. Your actual, real, beautiful, sometimes messy life.
Your actual, real, beautiful, sometimes messy life. I love that.
Because that life is worth taking care of.
It really is. And you are worth taking care of. Whether you're a native English speaker or someone who is working hard every day to understand a new language, you're putting in effort, you're growing, and that matters.
And speaking of growing, your English grows the same way healthy habits grow. Slowly, with consistency, with small steps every day. You might not notice the change from one day to the next, but look back after a month or 3 months or 6 months, and you'll see how far you've come.
So keep listening, keep showing up, keep being here with us at Mr. English Podcast. That's how you get better, one conversation at a time.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Mr. English Podcast right now so you never miss a new episode. We put out real conversations in simple English regularly, and every episode is designed to help you understand natural English more easily.
And share this episode with someone who's also learning English, or share it with someone in your life who you think needs a reminder to take care of themselves a little better, because this conversation might be exactly what they needed to hear today.
And we want to hear from you in the comments. Tell us, what is one healthy habit you're working on right now? Or what is one habit you really want to start but haven't yet? Be honest, we are a no judgment zone here.
Absolute no judgment zone. And if you tried something from today's episode, even something small, we want to know how it went. Your real experiences help everyone who reads the comments, so share generously.
Because this is a community, and communities grow stronger when people share honestly.
Beautifully said. All right, I'm Emma.
I'm James.
And you have been listening to Mr. English Podcast, the place where real conversations help you build real English.
Take care of your English, take care of your body, and take care of yourself.
And remember this, you don't have to be perfect to be healthy. You just have to keep coming back to good habits, to good choices, and to yourself. One small, kind step at a time.
See you next time.